Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 5th of August and we are going to deal with two very important topics which are in news. First is the Bailey Bridge, which has been constructed by the Indian Army in disaster-stricken Wayanad. This bridge has become very much significant because it is enabling movement of people for disaster relief, and it is also moving heavy machinery for excavation from there. Second is legal challenges in the Great Nicobar Island. There were legal challenges in this mega development project in the Great Nicobar Island, that is the southernmost island of Andaman and Nicobar Island groups. This Great Nicobar Island development project entails an development of an airstrip, tourism hub, a port, a transshipment hub, which will not only bring economic development in that region, but also it will increase India's strategic footprint in the Indian Ocean region. Now, what are the legal challenges with this? We will see over here in this topic. Then the MCQs and MCQs of Saturday will be discussed. Now, this Bailey Bridge. So, one of the major challenges in the rescue efforts was to reach the disaster-stricken sites in Kerala. On top of that, it was constantly raining over there. Now, amidst this, there came a solution, and that solution was the Bailey Bridge, which basically is a temporary bridge which is built, and it is built somewhere, constructed somewhere, assembled somewhere, and then brought to the site and then fixed it over there. So a major challenge in the rescue efforts in Wayanad was the continued rains in the region. These continued rains in the region basically led the Madras Engineer Group of Indian Army to build a Bailey Bridge, which was assembled at Churalmala to reach Mundakai village, one of the sites worst hit by the landslides. This 190-foot Bailey Bridge has been crucial in facilitating movement of heavy machinery and ambulances to the disaster-stricken site, which was earlier not accessible because of that gap which happened and the river which was there flowing. So now with this Bailey Bridge, it is possible. What is a Bailey Bridge? It looks like this, as you can see. Okay. There are these, girders over here, guardrails over here. Then there is this ramp which is laid over those guardrails, and it is definitely supported by these side railings which you are seeing. Simply, it is a type of a modular bridge, one whose parts are pre-built so that they need minimal construction work and can be assembled quickly when needed. History of Bailey Bridge. A US Army engineer school manual notes that the Bailey Bridge originated during the wartime. Which wartime? It was World War II. Donald Coleman Bailey was that British or English civil engineer who invented this bridge. The manual says that in 1941, Bailey gave his first sketch of the bridge to the British War Office, and it was heavily used in areas like Italy, Western Europe. And at the end of the war, one of the statement came from the military officers over there that without Bailey Bridge, we should not have won the war. It was the best thing, that line, we ever had. So British Field Marshal Lord Bernard Law Montgomery basically gave this statement about this Bailey Bridge. How does a Bailey Bridge work? The prefabricated parts in a Bailey Bridge include light steel panels linked through pins, which are big screw-like objects. So pins are not so small pins, big screw-like objects which gets fixed. These help establish the guardrails of the bridge. Through the guardrails on either side, workers place beams to form the deck or path of the bridge. All beams were constructed such that uh, they would lock in on the guardrails to ensure stability. After that, the bridge can be extended and the lightness of the parts allows it to be mobile as well. So assembled somewhere else, placed somewhere else. No heavy installation equipment is needed for this bridge. In disaster relief situations, this is ideal because parts can be transported in small trucks, something also of use during wartime. So that makes its application more diverse. Bailey Bridges in India. In a publication from India's Defence Research and Development Organization, that is DRDO, M.R. Joshi, former director of the Research and Development Establishment, Pune, He said that Bailey bridges we inherited from the Britishers. Obviously, when the Britishers built it during the World War II, that was the fag end of British rule in India. So there were Bailey bridges, the technology for manufacturing Bailey bridges, and some of the Bailey bridges, constructed also over here. But and we inherited those Bailey bridges from the Britishers. So when did we use these bridges? Such bridges were used in the 1971 war with Pakistan for the liberation of Bangladesh. And then in the past, Bailey bridges have also been constructed in strategically important villages along the India-China border in Arunachal Pradesh and in Uttarakhand during 2021 flash floods over there. Now in Kerala. So definitely it is something of strategic and vital importance for a country like India. Next is legal challenges in Great Nicobar Infra project. Now, this Great Nicobar Infra project is there on the Great Nicobar Island, which is the southernmost island. A 72,000 crore rupees development project it is. First phase is costing around 19,000 crore and to be completed by 2028. But this has run into certain legal challenges in the National Green Tribunal and the Calcutta High Court. What are these challenges? We will see. But before that, just a basic look at the Great Nicobar Island, what this island is, what the basics of this island, then the basics of this project, which is to be coming up on this island, then we'll go to the legal challenges. Now, this Great Nicobar is the southernmost and largest of the Nicobar Islands. Sparsely inhabited, 910 square kilometers patch it is. So this is basically Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and this is basically what the Great Nicobar Islands is. So sorry, not here. It is there. This one, Great Nicobar Island. Nicobar Islands are over here. They are separated by the 10-degree channel from the Andaman Islands. So Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So Nicobar's southernmost island is Great Nicobar Island. The Indira Point, India's southernmost point, is located on this island, and this is very much in vicinity of this Strait of Malacca, which is the world's busiest trade route. So this is over here. Indira Point on the island, India's southernmost point, is only 90 nautical miles from Sabang, that is the northern tip of Sumatra. Great Nicobar Island has two national parks on it, Galathian Bay National Park and Campbell Bay National Park, a biosphere reserve, Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve, small populations of Shompen and Nicobarese tribal people, and a few thousand non-tribal settlers also over there are living. So this is basically about the Great Nicobar Island where this project is coming up. And now the details about this project. The Niti Aayog has come up with a plan for holistic development of Great Nicobar Island. Project Implementation Agency of this particular project is Andaman and Nicobar Islands Integrated Development Corporation, and NIDCO we are calling it. Mega project includes four things. First, International Container Transshipment Terminal, ICTT. It is going to be kind of a port which is going to, be used as a terminal for transshipment from India to the Southeast Asian countries and to rest of the part of the world. A military civil dual use airport, so an airstrip has to come up. A solar power plant and an integrated township. This will be promoting tourism in that region. So these are the four things which have to come up. So by looking at these four things, definitely economic development is on the agenda, and apart from it, India's strategic footprint has to be increased in the Indian Ocean region, because this Andaman and Nicobar Islands location over here is very much strategic. Strait of Malacca, basically that strait where the world's trade passes. China is very much, I would say, concerned about the safety and security of Strait of Malacca, because it's most of the trade passes through Strait of Malacca. And by stationing ourselves over here near to the Strait of Malacca, we definitely will have a strategic edge. That is what it is giving us. The significance of the project, strategic importance is there related to this project. Enhanced security, as it will give us a base deep down the Indian Ocean region. Maritime piracy, terrorism, illegal trade, and undue dominance of China can be tackled, just discussed. It can create an economic trade hub in Andaman and Nicobar Islands through that transshipment, terminal. It may promote tourism and it will also increase employment in the region. So this is the significance. But there are certain environmental concerns with respect to this particular project. So what are the environmental concerns? We'll see. It is basically opposed on the grounds of the threat it poses to the ecology of the islands. The wildlife conservation researchers, anthropologists, scholars, and civil society has focused on the potentiality or potentially devastating impact on the Shompen tribes, a particularly vulnerable tribal group of hunter-gatherers. They are hunters and gatherers, and they are, population. Their population is only a few hundred individuals left who live in the tribal reserve area in the Great Nicobar Islands. It is feared that the port project will also destroy coral reefs with spin-off effects on the local marine ecosystems over there, and species like leatherback turtles and megapode birds, their habitats are also expected to be impacted due to this particular project. The proposed port is in the seismically volatile zone as per the environmentalists. Proposed port means that transshipment terminal. It saw permanent subsidence of about 15 feet during the 2004 tsunami. So these are the environmental concerns, but Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has given the environmental clearance to this project, and it has acknowledged this fact that it is diverting 130.75 square kilometers of forest for this particular project. Means this particular project, this much land from the forest will be occupied, and for that, compensation forestation should be done in other areas. So compensatory forestation and all will be done also. But there are certain appeals against this project. In 2022, environmental activists Ashish Kothari and Mumbai-based non-profit Conservation Action Trust (CAT) challenged the environmental and coastal regulation zone clearances granted to the GNI project. So, along with the submission before the Eastern Bench of NGT, CAT filed a separate appeal challenging the forest clearances in the Calcutta High Court, because Calcutta High Court has jurisdiction over Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, two, I would say, parallel appeals filed, one in NGT, one in the Calcutta High Court. Okay. NGT formed a high panel committee to look into the investigations. Now, the grounds for appeal. What are the grounds for appeal by these people against this project? Were similar, centered on irreversible damage that the project would cause on biodiversity, inadequate environmental impact studies, and opacity in the clearance process given by the MOEFCC. The appeals pointed out that GNI was a biosphere reserve, home to a wide spectrum of ecosystems comprising wet evergreen forest. We've seen that it is that Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve and all is also there. Issues of inadequate assessment of impact on Shompen and Nicobarese tribal people have also been there. Means we have not done adequate studies or adequate impact studies on those tribal groups over there. Shompens are hunters and gatherers, we know that. The findings of this high-powered committee formed by NGT in 2023 to revisit the project's green clearance were submitted in an affidavit to NGT's Kolkata bench. This HPC concluded that proposed transshipment port does not fall in the Island Coastal Regulation Zone IA, ICRZ IA, where ports are prohibited. So since it is not falling, the ports type of structures can be formed. Now, what does the NGT ruling says after the submission of those, findings by that high-powered committee? The special bench ruled it did not find any ground to interfere with the forest clearance. It said while the forest helped tackle air pollution and climate change, development cannot be ignored. So NGT is also in favor of development not being ignored. It added that there was hardly any development in GNI, that is Great Nicobar Island, and there was a need not only for economic development but also national security. So it is promoting national security as well. The bench said that while the environmental impact assessment procedure is mandatory, it does not follow that hyper-technical approach should be adopted, ignoring ground realities about the need of country for development and national security. So it is very clear that hyper-technical approach is not being followed. A simple approach is being followed, and we are prioritizing national development and security. There were unanswered deficiencies on coral conservation, for which again the NGT has said that this high powered committee will be submitting its recommendations that how corals and all can be conserved. they are not impacted due to this project. Now the MCQs. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Bailey's Bridge was invented by an American civil engineer during the Second World War. Bailey's Bridge is pre-assembled. Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Which one is correct? Second, where and when in India has the Bailey's Bridge come into use? During 1965 war with Pakistan, during the flash floods in Uttarakhand in 2021, in areas along the Indo-China border. Only one entry, only two entry, only three, or all of the above. Then next, this is the third question, not the first. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Indira Point is located on the Great Nicobar Islands. Andaman and Nicobar group of islands are separated by 10-degree channel. Which of these statements are correct? So find out. The fourth, Great Nicobar Island project can lead to greater presence of India in the Indian Ocean region, more development in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Which one is correct? Fifth, which High Court has the jurisdiction over Andaman and Nicobar Islands? Madras High Court, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, or Kolkata High Court? Simple question this is. Now the MCQs of 3rd August. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Subcategorization of caste aligns with the phenomenon of equity. This statement is true. Subcategorization was allowed in the OBC category. This statement is also true. Creamy layer. So C is the correct answer for this. Consider the following statements and mark how many of them are correct. States are allowed to subcategorize caste only and not tribes for reservation. This is not correct. Caste and tribes both. The most vulnerable class among SC will be getting more benefits of reservation. This is true. Telangana and Punjab had included provisions for subcategorization. Not Telangana, it was Andhra Pradesh. So this statement is also wrong. So only one statement is correct. Third, which country has the highest lithium deposits? It is Chile. Very simple from that image which was posted over there. You could find out. So C is the correct answer. The lithium reserves found in Riyasi, Jammu and Kashmir are unexplored due to which of the following reasons? The blocks are too small to apply modern mineral systems based tools. Yes, this is true. Underdeveloped mineral reporting standards used in tender documents. This is true. So both 1 and 2. C is going to be the correct answer of this particular question. And last is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Government of India aims to get 30% private vehicles as EVs on Indian roads by 2030. This is true. Net zero by 2070. This is also true. Discovery of lithium reserves in India will contribute in reducing the current account deficit, which is a deficit or which is an account which entails imports minus exports. This is also true. So all of the above are true and D is going to be the correct answer. So with this, we've come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Not saying it today. Namaste. Jai Hind.